Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the next section. It's actually been about a month since I did the last recording in this section, so that was module 3, right? So we just built the trade balance. Don't worry, I haven't been on a beach chilling for the last month or anything. I wish I had. Obviously I've been trading, I'm a full-time trader, so I've been busy with trading, but also I said to you I'd come back after a month so we could update everything. So I just ended up leaving this final bit of part 1, and I've actually recorded the majority of part 2. So once you start part 2, you'll see there's some like real comprehensive videos there about going in depth into all of these little data pieces. I call them little, obviously not very important, but it's just a turn of phrase. But yeah, these very important pieces of data. So an FOMC, I ended up breaking it into 4 parts. Okay, I did a 5-hour session on the Fed. Was not planned. Obviously I knew it'd be long. I didn't think it would be 5 hours, but so you got some, I just cannot describe, some real amazing stuff that's going to help bring all of this to life. So that's all to come in part 2. So I was away for a month doing that because I wanted the calendar just to have a little bit of a month gap so we can update some of these things. Like I said, I want to update virtually a whole month with you of data so I can show you how I just update this. Really straightforward, to be honest. If you understand Excel, Microsoft Excel, you don't even need me to show you. But obviously I want this to be the best course out there times a million. So I am going to show you, okay? To do that, obviously I needed a month. So I thought this whole section, because I've split it out into the 4th module, so you should have just finished module 3, the last bit of building the dashboard essentially with the trade data. I wanted to just do module 4 all together. So anyway, what we're going to do, updating the dashboard in the next section, and then I think that's going to be the last part of part 1. Then we're going to move on to part 2, which I've already built around 80% of. I've just got a little bit left to do, but by the time you start the course, majority of it should be, I think all of it will be done, should be done anyway, right? So there's just this little bit to do. But anyway, look, point is we need to update things, and also I'm going to show you how I convert this into so I do have a tab on my own dashboard that is forward-looking, so all the forward-looking data. So I actually don't have this. Move this piece of paper I've got here. I actually don't have this tab showing. Okay, I have it hidden. You can hide it. I already know, right? I said to you many times during the first 3 modules of this course, part 1 course, which hopefully you're really enjoying, and I already said to you, manufacturing, services, and labor data is obviously in the first week, typically always in the first week. Second week tends to be inflation week, right? Institutional traders, I know, as you kind of saw in the intro. Now I just built the intro to this to the welcome bit, you know, you would have seen this ages ago. So for you'll be like, what's Envy going on about? I saw that ages ago, but actually I just built it. The bit where I drew the trading floor and I used to work, and so you know that I spent a considerable amount of time on a serious trading floor, right? Like one of the best in the world, which is good for you because you're getting the best information. So it's not that I'm bragging, I'm just telling you basically that the point being that people used to say inflation week, right? And that was the point I was saying about CPI being week 2. So when I was on that trading floor, a lot of traders would just have it in their head, hey, it's inflation week this week, or you know, labor week this week, as in labor data, or jobs week. Jobs week was more common term that I used, heard, especially in the UK. Jobs week, inflation week, and then retail sales wasn't really called retail sales week, just because retail sales data, as you'll see when you get into part 2, it's quite volatile, and doesn't really add as much value as something like jobs data, and I don't want to talk about that here. We'll go into that in part 2, don't worry. Until just incredible the amount of detail. Like I said, I've already built it, so I know. Part 2 has so much detail about data, so don't worry, we're going to get into all of that. And then final week GDP, and again, it's not really called GDP week, and I've explained in part 2 why. We'll get into all of that, why GDP isn't red here. You know, it's kind of the timing, a lot of it is timing. So look, anyway, and then FOMC week. Sorry, I forgot FOMC week, of course. But the reason I didn't say it straight away is because obviously FOMC week can be any week. It can be the first, it can be the 4th week, it can be any week, and you've got that here, right? 4th week, 3rd week. So yeah, obviously people will say FOMC week, but you'll need to make adjustments for that. So that's, in fact, one of the reasons I like to personally, it's up to you, you don't have to do this. I like to actually organize the data. You're going to see it literally takes 5 minutes, if that. Okay, you can, and you don't even need to do it more than once a month, once every couple of months. Okay, it is literally 5 minutes. I think it will be criminal not to do this, and it's just going to give you so much of a better overview of what's coming up. It's going to put you miles ahead of everyone else if you're not already miles ahead, because you've got this great dashboard, and obviously you're going to be doing all the analysis in part 2 as well. So what I do, I hold the control button. Okay, so what I did, let me just delete that and start again. It's going to bleep, I think. Yeah, so sorry about that. It does make a loud noise when you copy or delete. If you hold control and just drag it across, okay, or you can insert worksheet. Okay, so either's fine, but because I like to copy it, I want the same. That wouldn't work because it would just give you a blank worksheet. So, you know, if you do insert, and in fact, let me just make sure you can see these tabs, because I might be covering. Yeah, I'm covering it, aren't I? Okay. Let me just get rid of that. Let me move myself up. It's quite funny. You're going to see me move up. Okay, it's almost like I'm a magician, right? I just move myself up automatically. What we're going to do, okay, now I don't want you to do this. I'm going to just insert some rows here. Okay, just because I'm going to move it across. You see, so you can just see it properly. Okay, so you can see it right there. There you go, that's better. I just realised that I was covering it. Good thing I've realised. In the past, I've ended up recording like an hour and just been blocking everything, and I've learned from my lesson from the past to always check. That's why you noticed I'll always check it, make sure I'm not blocking anything. It's not good for you, it's not good for me either. Okay, so this is your fundamentals dashboard. You've copied it across. Obviously for you, it should be there on the left hand side, but I'm just moving it over. You can if you want, but I'm only moving it because I don't want my face to block anything, okay? Whereas in my forward looking, so you can get rid of monthly if you want. I call it forward looking, but it's fine. You can just call it calendar if you want, or whatever you want. G7FX calendar. You don't have to put the G7FX, obviously you can call it what you want. John, Joseph, whatever, I don't know. It doesn't matter. You can call it anything you want, doesn't matter. It's not going to make a difference to me. Don't worry, it won't hurt my feelings if you don't call it G7FX calendar. You can call it whatever you want. But basically, eventually we're going to hide this. This was just obviously for you to understand. It's a template to give you, we went over this a million times, kind of where stuff falls, and you can just kind of, you know, just have it there until it becomes subconscious. Said it many times, you know, and I keep saying it, but in fact maybe I will say it again, just so it registers. So first week, obviously the ISM surveys, jobs report, second week inflation, third week retail sales, fourth week GDP, right, blah blah blah, etc. And then obviously FOMC comes one of the weeks. The thing is, once you know it, why do you need it? It's just wasting space here, because you're going to need an extra tab for the calendar. Why have two calendars? So you're going to see what I actually do. Now that I've got this up, I'll hide this. Okay, so you might not be able to see it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duck down. Okay, there's the lengths I go to for you guys, right, for this. I'm going to duck down. Can you see it says hide? Yeah, if you just press hide, you just dump down. Okay, so it is hidden, and actually if you ever want to bring it up, you can. You just click on unhide. God, you can't see it because of my chair, right? You can just, I'll do it here, I'll be clearer on it. Unhide, can you see that? And then can you see it's there? G7FX monthly calendar. Okay, if you click on that, do you see it just brought it up again? So again, you can hide it, and Excel it doesn't delete it, okay? So don't delete it, just keep it hidden. Okay, unhide. And then it gives you a list. So in theory, you can hide whatever you want, okay? In the past, I have hidden some of these because I do get a little bit lazy. I want to be open. And, I think honesty is important, and I like to be honest with you. Sometimes I won't always. You'll see when we go through the update section, sometimes I get a bit lazy. I don't update some of this very low level data. I might update it like much later. I might update 2-3 months in one go if I just basically just get a bit lazy. So sometimes I do like to hide these ones as well. So do you see how I've hidden them? To bring them back, if you click unhide, can you see they're all there, the 3 of them? So you can double click them and it brings them back. Unhide trade, okay? But this one I never keep it showing. This one, the template that we built, I just obviously built that to show you, and it is important as well because, so I'm gonna hide it, okay? It's enough bending down for one day, I think. That's enough. So yeah, okay, so we've got this. We're now going to update it, and I'll show you what I do. You can change the name if you want, dashboard or whatever. You can keep the name, same name, doesn't really matter. You can change it to like G7FX schedule. Call it whatever you want. I call it on mine. I call it forward-looking calendar, but you can call it schedule, G7FX schedule. Whatever you want to call it, okay? What I actually do is, on mine, I don't have these release schedules. I don't really need them. And then these, I don't really have them. Things like Jackson Hole and stuff, I don't have that there. Because you'll see when we update it. Just make sure I'm not covering anything, no. You'll see when we update it that you'll be looking out for things like these. You'll be able to put them in on an ad hoc basis. So what you can do is you can actually delete this, okay? Right click. Delete. Okay, that's gone. And what I do is, if you select both of these, you'll see why I do this. If you go to data and ungroup, is it here somewhere? Where is it? Ungroup. Okay, and actually group 2 of them. Okay. Right, so just group both of those, and then just what you need to do. You don't have to do this, but I'm a bit of a neat freak. I like to keep things neat. So column width is whatever that is, 42.57. Just make that the same column width. Okay, so there you go. And then you can close that, and you'll see why we do this in a moment. Then what I do, so this will take you 5 minutes. Just do this once a month, once every couple of months. Is I go to my calendar. Okay. My data calendar, and like I said, it's been a month. I think when I did this was about a month ago, so which was the start of January, as you know. I'm sure you've been following along. Obviously for you, this is whenever it is, right? This could be a year from now, 2 years, it could be 2025, 26, 27. As you know, this stuff is going to stand the test of time. Okay, so wherever you are, ideally you want to do this at the start of the month, but if it doesn't matter, in fact it doesn't matter, okay, whether it is the start of your month or not, ignore that. It doesn't matter when you do it. Just make sure you start filling this in from the start of the month. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you need to find, okay, and apologies if I do end up blocking some of this. I don't think it should be okay, right? Yeah, it's all right. You need to find the first piece of data on this schedule. Okay, so ISM manufacturing. Once you've done this a few times, this process, I might have timed myself doing it in about less than 2 minutes. Okay, it's literally a 2-minute job. I'm just going very slowly because obviously there'll be lots of people watching this, and I'll make sure that everyone gets it. Okay, so I know it's in the first week, so I'm just in February basically right now. So I'm going to do the whole month, so I'm going to click on that. Okay, so can you see, I need to find out the day that it's on. So do you see it's on Tuesday, February the 1st? I know it's likely to be the 1st because we know first business day, right? So what you need to do, okay, so in fact, what you want to do first, so we've got the date. You can go to any of these tabs. You can just take, and I'm going to take it from here. Do you see this day format? Okay, you can, don't know if it will let you use the format painter, and then let's see if it does. Yeah, so you saw what I've done there, right? I took the format painter and you just click on the day. Okay, so it is done now. It is formatted. You can put in the date, right? So 1st of February. Okay, so you go into that. 1st of February, for me it's 2022. Can you see I want the day when it's got the date? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down. Okay, that's it. With the mouse, I just dragged it down. Can you see that is like my base? Okay, you always need a base starting point. Okay, so see that? ISM manufacturing, Tuesday, February the 1st. Okay, ISM manufacturing Tuesday, and you can see where we're going with this. Okay, then what you need to do, so that's it from a date perspective. You then take that, format it, format painter, and just make sure all of these, okay, have the same formatting. Okay, you only need to do this once. It's just because it's almost like you're building this. Okay, once you've done it once, you won't necessarily need to do the formatting again. Okay, okay, then what you can do, equals that +1, so that's the Wednesday. Okay, and you can either do control and then paste into these, or whatever's easier. Okay, or you can even do the formula, right? Paste. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, and then equals that -1. Okay, so -1, that'll be the reference date. Okay, so everything is keying off that. Some days you might have, some weeks you might have manufacturing on a Friday. Okay, in which case you want to make these -1, -1, -1, -1. Do you see going backwards? Okay, so hopefully you can just get your head around that. Obviously, if there's any issues, just let my team know, the support team or whatever, but hopefully you should be all right with that. It's very straightforward. Give it a go. Hopefully you'll be okay. With these equals, you need to go to the previous Monday +7. Do you see? Okay, and then what you do, you can press Control C, and then with Control, highlight these, hold Control, and just highlight all of them like that. Okay, and then Control V. Okay, did you see that? You don't have to do it that way. Let me just undo all of that. You can also just, you know, copy and then paste. Okay, there's lots of different ways to do it. Then you can copy and then paste. Okay, and here as well. Paste. Okay, so whatever you feel comfortable doing, you just do whatever you feel comfortable doing. Now we've only moved the manufacturing, right? We know the services, we know, right? You should know this by now. Based on, I'm going to unhide the other one. So on the 3rd business day, services. Do you remember? Services, release monthly on the 3rd business day. Okay. But we got rid of that, but it doesn't matter because we've got our calendar now. We're going to just use this calendar. Do you see what we're doing? We're setting up our map for the next 2 months. Who does this? No one. That's where we're developing Edge. Okay, that is what it means to develop Edge. Doing what the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Everyone else is just waking up. Oh yeah, today I've got this. Complete nonsense, right? Complete and utter embarrassment. I just don't even have the words for it, right? That is not the way we want to be doing things. We want to be professional about this, so we want to have everything ready for the next 8 weeks. Imagine how liberating that is. You just wake up one week, you know, okay, this week I have this on a Tuesday, I have this on a etc, etc. So what we're going to do, we're just going to adjust. Literally, it will take you 30 seconds. I'm just taking a long time about it because I'm obviously explaining it slowly, because everyone has a different pace. I'm sure you appreciate that. I was very slow when I first started doing this stuff, okay? So don't worry. Manufacturing first, and then services, you know it's going to be on the Thursday because it's third business. You can even play that game in your mind. Try and guess where it would be. Oh, third business day. Oh, it must be on the Thursday. Then just go and obviously double check it. Okay, where's services? There it is, on the Thursday. So we're going to move that down. What will happen is, once you become very good at this stuff, you'll be able to see manufacturing Tuesday, services Thursday, payrolls Friday. You'll be able to move all three in one go. It will take you not even 10 seconds, right? Obviously, I'm doing them one by one, slowly, just so everyone understands. Okay, so I'm going to move services to Thursday. When is payrolls? First Friday of every month. Okay, we know that because you should know this off by heart now. Released monthly, usually on the first Friday after the month ends, right? So like that. So we're expecting it to be then. Is it then? Yes, it is. Okay. Do you see that week is ready? You know, had you not been listening to me waffling on, that would have taken you 10 seconds to set that up, because your template will be ready. Just jig them around every month. Obviously, you'll have to change your reference month. Remember, it's just that one for manufacturing. You need to just set it, because sometimes the first business day might be a Wednesday, it might be a Thursday, it might be a Monday. That's the only thing, okay, that you will need to put a little bit of effort in and just look for, okay? I mean, it's nothing really, is it? And then the rest of them, you can just move them around. So can you see it's no longer week one typical month, so you can even get rid of that. It's the actual. Brilliant, right? You know straight away, oh, this Tuesday I got manufacturing, Thursday I got services, Friday. It's just amazing. Now you know literally exactly the day. You no longer need to think, oh, it's the first business. It's literally, okay, Tuesday I got, so I know next week, there's going to be next week for me, Tuesday manufacturing, Thursday services, Friday payrolls, okay? So I know the days now, they're all set in stone. CPI, all you do, go in your calendar, look for the second week. Can you see CPI there? January the 12th, okay? Wednesday. Sorry, I am talking nonsense, retail nonsense. Where is it? It's the second week, isn't it? Sorry about this. Don't know why my calendar was sitting on January. So there you go. Second week. Thursday, February the 10th, okay? So apologies. So it's going to be Thursday, and that's why I have the date, so I can just line it up. See how easy that was? I just moved it one. Not even 2 seconds, right? So can you see that is it? Sometimes, as you know, you'll have retail sales in this week, right? But we don't have that. Okay, if you want, you can, just to save time, do both of these at the same time. I forgot, you'll only need to do this once, but if you're like me and you like things to be neat, you can just clean these up. Just highlight them using the control and then click on them. So I'm holding the control button. So click on unemployment claims, hold control, select these ones that have gaps at the end of them, go into that and outside borders. Okay, there you go. See, it just cleans it up a little bit. Unemployment claims you'll never have to move because it's always going to be on a Thursday. Meeting minutes, I don't know about the minutes. I don't think there was, I don't think it's in that second week. What you can do if you can't find something like FOMC, you can just put it on the side. Just put it in this on the side over here, outside of all of that for one moment. So you can just park it there, so we can find it. If you want, you can check PPI at the same time. Okay, so, you know, I said to you before, everything I do, I like to be honest, right? And at the end of the day, that's where I differentiate myself. I don't want to BS anyone. I don't always pay that much attention to these, so I will sometimes get a bit lazy and not move them around, but don't do what I do. I just want to be honest with you, okay, that sometimes I do get a bit lazy and I don't bother moving these. These, I will move them religiously, okay, I will not sleep until these are set, and I know what days they're on, 4 to 8 weeks in advance. Sometimes I'll get a bit lazy and not move these, but don't do that. Build good habits, okay? Can you see, I think it's actually in the next week. Yeah, it's there, 15th. So what you can do, you've set your CPI. We'll move to the third week. Okay, can you see it's in the third week? You've got PPI and you've got retail sales on the Wednesday, the 16th. Okay. So this retail sales, so for FOMC, right, is not in that week. So park it over here for the time being. We'll see if there is an FOMC meeting in February. I don't think there is. Yeah, it's not till March, is it? So we won't actually have an FOMC meeting. Try to get familiar with the calendar. Do you see how I already knew there wasn't a meeting in February? Because I just know, okay? Because I've been following FOMC for so many years. It's just, and I'll be reading about it all the time. And as you'll see in part 2, I spent 5 hours on FOMC for a reason. It's the most important event ever, okay, when it comes to trading. So I will always know when the next meeting is generally. You know, I know they just had one in January. I know the next one's in March. So I kind of know, but even if you don't worry about it. My point is just park it over there because you might need to use that somewhere. We don't know exactly where it is. But point is, retail sales is on the 16th. So move that down. Okay. PPI, we know it's on the 15th. So you can move it down there. All right. What else have we got? What you can basically just look for these things that you've got here. The minutes. I know that we had FOMC meeting at the end of Jan, so around obviously 3 weeks later, right? Do you remember 3 weeks there? Scheduled 8 times per year. 3 weeks after the announcement, okay? So it's been about 3 weeks, so it's there anyway. So Wednesday the 16th, okay? So FOMC meeting minutes is, it's actually on the same day. And we've also got industrial production on the same day. Can you see it? It's got industrial production, FOMC. That is why at the start I told you to group these extra 2 tabs. Do you remember I said group 1 extra? Because what you can do now, you can move industrial production there and you can put FOMC there. Okay? Really straightforward, honestly. Once you've done this a few times, it will literally take you 2 minutes to do this. I keep repeating myself, but it's true because I don't want anyone to think it's a lot of work. It really isn't. Okay, and this FOMC, I'm just going to leave it, just leave it on the side. You know, don't want to make a mistake and think, oh, I got it. Just make sure you know it's on the side. You're just going to save that for later. Housing data, I'll never move it because you'll get lots of different housing data. All right, so you can see here existing home sales, but then obviously you've got other housing data, right? Building permits and I think we only record 2, right? So the building permits and existing home sales, I wouldn't worry too much about it, okay? It's up to you. I just leave it as that because it means I have to split them out. If you want, you can put them, I mean, you could, if you in theory wanted to, move it where existing home sales is on Friday, but I'm not going to bother. It's up to you. But the point about all this stuff is, it's not for me to give you a template. We already know indicators are complete garbage. They don't work. There's no indicator. And that's not what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm trying to give you some ideas. How to, I mean, I've pretty much already given you on a plate, or I've taken you a million miles away from maybe what you were doing already. Now you can push the boundaries yourself. There's nothing to stop you doing things better than me or in a different way. Okay? Don't feel envy does this, so I have to do it. Don't do that. Experiment, change things, do things differently to me. This is just an idea I'm giving you. You can do things slightly differently, which I saw in the Pro Foundation. If you're doing the Pro Foundation, people started doing things in their own way and with fantastic results, right? As soon as people realize I can tweak, you know, so do things in your own way. If you don't feel comfortable putting just housing day and you want to put existing home sales, do it slightly differently to me, no problem at all. And then in the final week, of the month, we've got bank holiday. That's quite important. I would always put the bank holiday. So make sure with the filter you've got this grey one selected, okay? So you see the bank holidays. So we've got a bank holiday on February the 21st, okay? Very important, okay? So actually, not something I've mentioned before, but I do have the bank holiday, can't even spell, do have the bank holidays marked, okay? So you can put that in a different colour, bank holiday grey, like they have it, right? Grey, quite cool. Okay, and you can put a circle around it. It's really good to know. Take the day off, right? I do not trade bank holidays at all. Take the day off, have a long weekend, plan something with your family. If you're a full-time trader, if you're not, in fact 99% of you won't be, you'll have a job. Take the day off from trading, right? Some of you will be trading in and around work, maybe at lunchtime, maybe before work. Have an extra lie-in. Have a longer lunch, right? Don't worry about the trading on that particular day. It's not worth it, right? It's just very low liquidity. I would suggest don't trade. So very important to have that marked there. And then finally, obviously crude oil inventories. If you trade crude oil, make sure you move the crude oil. Because sometimes it's on Wednesdays, right? And if it's on Thursday, I want you to mark it there, right? I don't really trade crude anymore. As you know, I've kind of migrated towards just full-time ES now. When I built Pro and Foundation, I was trading crude quite a bit, so I would have put crude inventories there, but obviously I'm not. So, but that's why I said this is not like some sort of rule. You have to do what I do. Right? You might trade different asset. You may not even trade ES. You may trade something completely different, relevant to you. Make sure you obviously adjust this according to what you like to follow. If you feel something here isn't relevant in accordance with what you're trading, you change it. But I've shown many times, right? If you watch my Institutional Sundays on YouTube, many times that everything is correlated. In my opinion, whatever you trade, you need to know this stuff. Okay, so but crude oil inventory is obviously a unique one that goes with crude oil. We're then going to just check for the GDP. There's no advanced GDP. Remember, advanced GDP is the first release. So for the last quarter, that's going to be January for me. Obviously, you know, just make sure it's basically the first month after a quarter ends. So if you're not in that first month after the quarter ends, I'm in the second month after the quarter ended for me in December. I'm going to have the preliminary. Okay, so I've got preliminary there. So can you see this advanced? I'm just going to leave it on the side over here. Do you see I can just park it? I like to just park them because I will need it in the future when advanced GDP comes back. Okay, so I think that's almost it. I've got preliminary. Okay, you can delete final and just put preliminary. I don't bother, I just leave it. But I do put the correct day. Do you see that? Correct Thursday, February 24th. Okay. Just making sure I've got the right day. Okay, yeah, I do. And just remember, right, preliminary is the second cut, so it should say it here. Doesn't say, does it? Yeah, there we go. GDP second release. Okay, why they've got it as high impact, I'm not too sure. I don't think the market will perceive that to be high impact. It's usually the advanced GDP, unless the GDP is very, very volatile. To be honest, yeah, it's not. Okay, normally the advanced is fairly accurate. We talk about, and in fact I think I talk about that in part 2. Obviously I've already built part 2, so I know, but do discuss that in part 2. Then core PCE price index. Remember this, I've just gone and built part 2, and in the Fed section and in the inflation section I talk about the core PCE price index a lot. I want you to remember this point I'm about to make to you, because I've already built those sections and I wasn't aware that I was going to discuss this with you even for 5 minutes. I forgot that it would come up when we're just building the forward-looking calendar. Now, just remember this point I'm making now. When we get to the inflation section in part 2, which is still, you know, you're going to have hours before you get to that. I think it's the CPI and inflation section in, I can't remember which module it is, but it is there. I talk about core PCE quite a lot, and I compare it to CPI. It's quite a long module. I want you to remember, this is the one I'm going on and on about. Core PCE price index. Okay, it's the Fed's preferred measure. You know, when they talk about 2% inflation target, and if you're not aware of that, don't worry, I'm going to talk about it for hours in part 2. But this is generally the one that the FOMC, which is the committee of the Federal Reserve that sets interest rate or decides on the Fed funds rate, which again we'll discuss in part 2. This is their preferred measure. It's basically price level. It's inflation, right? Change in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers, and this is the core, so it excludes food and energy, all right? But don't worry about any of this. We're going to go over all of this. This will all be discussed a lot, but I just wanted to make sure that I highlighted this, that this is the one I'll be going on and on about in the inflation section. Okay, it'll make a lot of sense when you get there. So core PCE price index, that's on Friday, February 25th. Okay, so let me just put that in there. And another thing I want you to remember when we're talking about inflation, one of the things I say to you is that core PCE is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. And the reason I gave that I'm not too fussed about it, or the market doesn't pay as much attention as the CPI. And I make this point, I remember, because I've already built the inflation section. I've mentioned this several times, that core PCE as an inflation gauge or indicator or whatever you want to call it, can you see how late in the month it is? It's so much later than the CPI. And I make this point a lot. So I just want you to remember this, that it's so late in the month. It's almost virtually the end of the month. You're getting the inflation data, and it is for the previous month. I don't know if it actually explicitly states it here, but it is, okay? So yeah, it will be for January, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Can have a look to see latest release. It's not here, is it? This is just the actual PCE. This is actual PCE. In fact, don't worry about it. Okay, we do cover it in the inflation section. The point is that it's released so much later than. And in fact, I just realized it makes sense there. It's not the actual price level here, but the last release was December 2021, 0.3%. What it is, right, because this number hasn't been released yet, you see February 25th, for me it hasn't happened. Can you see it's all blank? So the last release would have been in January for December. That's why on that page it had the December data. Okay, latest released December. Okay, but don't worry about that. Point is that this data comes much later than CPI, and that's why the market pays much more attention, even though the Fed prefers this as a measure of inflation. And don't worry, about the definitions and why the Fed prefers that. I'll cover it extensive detail in part 2 of the course. Just want you to remember this. I've spoken about this for like 5 minutes now, so you will remember this, that this comes much later. Okay, and then finally, you've got, what is it, trade balance, right? I'll be honest, I never moved that because it's split out. I don't know if you remember, it's split out into goods trade balance and then the whole thing together, right? And they're separate splits. I mean, you can put it where goods is, ideally you want it where goods trade balance is, but I hardly look at it. In fact, it's very low impact at the moment. You see that? So you'll need to actually we spoke about this, I think, in the last section, in the trade balance section, which I built a month ago, but as I explained at the start, but you'll just need to find it. It should be here somewhere. I think it's right towards the end of the month, isn't it? So you may need to just go towards the end of your month. Can you see? There it is. Goods trade balance on February 28th. Okay. I actually don't have the 28th here, so I'm going to leave that just for one moment. I'm going to move it once I show you how I build the following 4 weeks, but just bear in mind that it's there. Now, unless I've made calamitous error, I think we are pretty solid that in terms of where stuff falls. Just checking that the core PCE, I've put it on a Friday. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can you see? This is literally this is what is going to take you to an elite level when it comes to understanding macro. You cannot, this is the minimum you need to be doing. Have this in front of you, okay? Not at all times, but obviously at the start of the week or the month. Can you see how much further you will be straight away? At the start of a week, I cannot tell you how amazing it is to feel when you wake up or go to bed on a Sunday night, market's just opening up, or you wake up on a Monday and I've got no data to worry about. I can concentrate more on sentiment, or I can focus more on other factors because I don't have anything until Thursday. Okay, I got CPI. I'll wake up here and you're like, all right, I remember I got manufacturing on Tuesday, I got services on Thursday. Okay, you're taking it to even another level up from this. Right? I mean, you're already a million miles away from we already talked about it, just looking at some random data fields on your calendar. Okay, we've already moved well past that. All of that, let's leave that to people who don't really know what they're doing. Then we've built this, you're now even further ahead than this, because this only tells you that this stuff is in the first week, Monday, as in the first business day, but you don't know the day, right? So we've completely I've hidden that now, got rid of that. Now we're taking it to even the highest level possible, which is the exact days. Manufacturing Tuesday, Thursday services, Friday payrolls. Think about it. Apart from at an institutional level, do you know anyone? If you said to them, hey, next week, do you know the data? Would they be able to just tell you straight away? You will already know this the week before because you'll have this in front of you already from the week before. Yes, I do actually. Let's say you're talking to your mate, David or John. I'm just making this name up. It could also be, I don't know, Catherine, Samantha, completely. I'm talking rubbish here, but you know what I mean. Anyone, your friend, and like, John, yep, I know next week I'm going to be thinking about the manufacturing on Tuesday, services Thursday, and I got payrolls actually on Friday. The market might be keeping an eye on that. So heavy data calendar week, and then obviously the week after we've got it there, right? Inflation, but it's not until Thursday. So I'm not too worried about economic data in the early part of the week, right? I'm worried about it later, and then following week, actually retail sales is bang on dead in the day. And then the fourth week, we've got the bank holiday. It's a short week. Do you see you're suddenly starting to be able to even talk like an institutional person at a very high level? Why? Just because you did some basic work. Okay, this is really, I would say, please make sure you do this at the start of the month. It's really going to pay dividends. You don't need to take my word for it. You can see it for yourself, right? It's incredible. It will really just get your bearings. So it's hard enough to do analysis. You don't know where stuff is. You can see why most people make a complete pig's ear out of all this stuff, because they don't even know where stuff is. Right? And then they come in on a day or a week and they're looking at 15 different releases. Complete waste of time. Okay, in a week like this, I'm not saying I'm necessarily the Bible of trading, of course not, but you know enough about me to know that I know a decent amount, right, about this business, and I can tell you the majority of institutional traders I know, from an economic data perspective, they're going to be focused on inflation in that week. They're not going to worry about all the other million data pieces released. I don't want to say irrelevant, but it's just not that important. Okay, the focus will be on inflation. Third week, it'll be Wednesday retail sales. Fourth week, it's going to be nothing on the calendar, right? It's bank holiday. It's going to be a shortened week. It's going to be other things. Right? It's going to be sentiment. It's going to be, I don't obviously like to use the word, it's not, when I say technicals, I don't mean obviously technical analysis, you know what I think of all that nonsense. When I say technicals, I mean things on the chart will be driving more this stuff, the market in this week, because there's not very little off the chart, if that makes sense, right? This is all off the chart stuff that very few people understand. But in this particular week, we can be a little bit more relaxed about things off the chart. Does that make sense? The thing is, we know that even going to, clocking off for the day on Friday the 18th, you're going to know straight away the following week is a very quiet data week. Hardly anyone thinks that far ahead because they're just not diligent enough to do that. Okay, you are now, so congratulations, great job. I'm really happy that you're able to do this. There is one more step to do. What you need to do is you copy this, right? Now, depending on how many spaces you have, you might have 3 gaps here. I've got 3. I like to be even more organized, and I like to be well ahead of the curve and just have 2 months. And the reason is because when I get into week 4, I don't want to be scrambling around thinking, oh, what's in the following week here? And I like it all 8 weeks, and then I will go and clean this up afterwards. Okay. So what you do, just copy that. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, so you got 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one down, and then just paste it. Okay, and that is it. All right, so can you see all the dates remain the same here? Okay, so if you want, I don't know, normally I'm a bit lazy with this type of stuff, but if you want, you can just clean this up a bit. So what you can do, yeah, let's do, so copy this, paste it there. Okay, let's put February. Okay, and you can choose, and like I said, a million times, choose whatever color you want. Okay, so we can go for, let's find a nice color that will really stick out. I don't want to do red because we've already got red. Yep, orange with black writing. That's quite nice, isn't it? Maybe do a little thick border around. Yeah, don't know. You can play around with it, or I'll just leave it like that for now. What you can do then, just copy that. Okay, paste in here. Remember, sometimes you might have a 5th week. Okay, and I'm not necessarily gonna do that with you, but you do have to remember that. Okay, sometimes you will have a 5th week. So here I'm gonna put March. Okay, I might do it with you. In fact, I'm just thinking I probably will. It's a bit unfair not to do that, but okay, so I'm then going to go to March. Okay, remember what I said? The first, in fact, all you really have to do is just find the next week that you're in already. So can you see the last one was the bank holiday week, wasn't it? 21st of Feb. I don't know why it keeps jumping back to Jan. Probably me doing something silly. Can you see the bank holiday week? Go to the next week. Can you see your manufacturing starts again? 1st of March is a Tuesday. Okay. So what you need to do, remember that's the reference week. So you will have to change that manually. 1st of March, 22. Okay. And the rest of them have just changed now. That won't always be the case. It just happened to be on a Tuesday. So it just updated automatically. So what I mean by that, let me undo that. Let's say your first day happens to be the 2nd of March. Okay, so if you do 2nd of March 21, you need to be very careful because, do you see that stayed as the 1st of Feb? That becomes your first reference day. So you would need to do equals that minus 1, and then you would need to do, and then same for that, equals that minus 1. In that instance, it was already done. Okay, so it depends on the reference day. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. Okay, so start again. That's your first reference day, so it was 1st of March, right? Okay, we know we got a sense check. Remember I said play the game. You know it's first business day. You're expecting it on the 1st of March. Is it on the 1st of March? Yes, it is. When are you expecting services? 3rd business day. Okay, manufacturing, services 3rd business day, payrolls on the 4th. Literally took me 10 seconds to organize the 1st week of March. I'm done. Straight away I know. Okay, Tuesday, Thursday, etc., etc. Okay. Next is the 2nd week. Can you see the CPI on Thursday, March the 10th? Thursday, it's already there, isn't it? Thursday, March the 10th. Claims we know is always on a Thursday. Then we've got the 3rd week. You've got retail sales on Wednesday, March 16th, and PPI on March 15th. Retail sales March 16th, and then fact, I forgot something. Did I move the PPI? Not the PPI, sorry, the trade balance. The trade balance, do you remember it's on Monday the 28th? So that just needs to go there, okay? Just go and rewind the video. You'll see that I said I was just going to leave it there until I built this. So I built it and I moved that trade balance there, okay? I'll be honest with you, right? Like I said, I like to be honest with you. I don't really hardly open this bit here. I'm normally just focused on that stuff. I've got a million things going on when I'm trading. I'm not too bothered that much about these low level data. I mean, it's nice to know it's there. I like to be complete, and I will. In fact, I don't always move it. I said that to you, I was honest, right? But this stuff I will always make sure it's in the right place. CPI is in the right place. Retail sales, we said, isn't on the 16th. This is a big one. FOMC is on March the 16th. Okay, that is massive. You must make sure that's on there. Can you see 17th of March? Okay, so fact. Oh, sorry, I had it wrong, didn't I? Yeah, there. Sorry, 16th of March. Yeah, I was getting really confused. That's the previous year. So 16th of March. Okay, and we've got it here. Do you remember? So you can just drag it down. Okay, keep going down. 16th. What am I doing here? Okay, now for this. Okay, so you've got retail sales and FOMC on the same day. What I will do, right, I don't like to put it in there because I do want to know retail sales is on that day. And what will happen is if you put FOMC and retail sales and you shut this, you may forget. Okay, so what I like to do is I do actually like to keep it on the outside. Okay, so it'll be there. Do you see that? I like to keep it on the outside, so just keep it on the outside. Just be a little bit careful with when you've got a stacking like that. Like I said, there's no rule. You can figure your own way of doing all of this. I'm just giving you a rough sort of guideline of how to do it. There's nothing else in that week, right? What else have we got? Actually, we've got PPI on the Tuesday. Okay, so let me just open this up. Do you know what? I do apologize. When we copied this down, I don't think we copied any of this, right? So apologies for that. What you can do is you can just copy it anyway. Okay, just copy that. I'm just going to hit escape. And I don't really want to start again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the trade balance back in its original place. Let's copy that. So just copy this bit. Okay. Copy. Sorry, I should have done this all together. Escape that. If you start where it says unemployment claims, just copy these down to Thursday. Okay, unemployment claims on Thursday. Can you see it there? Then paste. There you go. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to move the trade balance down to the Monday. Okay, perfect. That's better. So I got, you see my March is now starting to fill up nicely. So I've got unemployment claims. All of this is in the correct place. PPI is on, do you see it? March 15th. Don't forget, you don't have to do this every day. You can do this once every 4 weeks, 8 weeks, right? It's nothing. I know it seems like a lot of work. It's literally, once you've done it a million times, it's going to be March 15th. You're going to be doing this for fun, okay? Don't worry about it too much. This type of stuff, you'll be able to do it very, very quickly. And it's once every month and a half. Okay, it's nothing, zero work for amazing benefit. Thursday, March 17th, industrial production. Okay, Thursday, March 17th, industrial production. So let's move that down. We know retail sales stacks with FOMC, PPI, CPI. It's all pretty much done, right? We just got this week 4 now. So we're now going to go to, do you see week 4? Great. And in fact, I'm glad there is a 5th. No, there isn't, is there? Okay, it's a bit of a tricky one, this. Okay, anyway, we'll deal with it in a moment. Can you see week 4? There's nothing. Okay, there's nothing there. Let's clean that up a bit. Okay. Just make sure there's nothing there. Okay, there's nothing there. Nope. Then week 5. Yeah, so what's actually happened is this is going to be week 5. Okay, because there is no payrolls in this week. So this will become week 5, okay? So there is a 5th week, which is good because it means I can actually show you how to deal with 5 weeks. It's really straightforward, okay? You don't need to make it complicated at all. All you do, so we have no bank holiday in that week. So to get rid of the bank holiday, you can just copy a blank cell and paste it into there. See, just got rid of it, okay? We'll clean all this up in a moment, just give me 1 second. So what you need to do with this, for a week 5, copy. Now this is really important. You see there's a gap of 3 cells. Just make sure there's a gap, 1, 2, 3, and then that 4th one. Otherwise the formulas won't work. So you just do that and then paste. Do you see? And your 5th week. Change that to week 5. Okay, really straightforward. It's a bit of a tricky one because you do end up getting manufacturing. Because, do you see, it's the first business day, but that's okay. I told you, this is why it's nice to do this. Because you're no longer following that perfect template. This is now the real world, the actual days when things happen. So we can go through them. So where are we? It's actually quite a packed week, isn't it? For a week 5, they've actually managed to squeeze. Very rare, you will see the payrolls squeezed in, where it's got the month ending the day before. Very, very rare that will happen. Usually that will get squeezed into the following week, but whatever, it is what it is. That's why it's important to double check this stuff. So where are we? Week 4 was very quiet. Week 5, what have we got? It's almost like a new week, isn't it? I'm tempted to call that week 1, but no, I wouldn't. I would squeeze that into week 5. Okay, it's up to you what you want to do. I would call this week 5 because really it is week 5. So final GDP we've got on the, let's just go through them. Final GDP we've got on the Wednesday. Okay, so final GDP. So you see this? Drag that down to Wednesday, 30th. Okay. Let's just deal with the lower level data first. Core PCE you've got on the Thursday. Price index, so you've got core PCE here on the Thursday. Okay. Let's just see if there's trade balance somewhere in there. Should be there, shouldn't it? There it is, Monday, March 28th. Okay, trade balance. I know a lot of this might be like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Maybe you're not thinking that way. But don't worry, once you've done it a million times, and just be able to do this. So straightforward. Honestly, it's not that complicated. And then I'm just going to chuck all of this in one go. So you've got manufacturing and payrolls on the same day. Okay. So you've got manufacturing. So I'm going to copy that. It's on that day, isn't it? Yeah, because you're stacking them, it's very rare. You'll have to do this. I'm just going to stack it there because I've got payrolls and I want payrolls to fill my primary slot. So copy and then paste it there. Okay, there you go. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and advance will come the following month. Okay, because the quarter will end in March and then in April you'll have the advance for Q1. That is it. Okay, that is my next 8 weeks schedule right there. In my first tab, I don't even need to check a calendar. I've just literally got it in front of me. I can see, you know, right now I know that the next FOMC meeting, straight away, you see, I can see it. All right, it's about 7 weeks time. Okay, I got the FOMC. I've got bank holiday week on the 4th week, and I've got a quiet couple of weeks there. You know, here manufacturing, so on and so forth, and then I've got a squeezed payrolls and manufacturing in week 5. Okay, stuff like this. I can't give you a template. Can you see? It's always going to be a day here, a day there, one extra week there, and this is literally more than enough. I think you'll agree. Brilliant start for you to start building, and I want you to maybe even, let's make it a task. I want you to come up with your own little format that you feel comfortable with, and that you feel you'll be able to fill in. Honestly, it will take you 5 minutes to change this. Then what I will do when I come into March is I will delete February. Really straightforward. Okay, I will literally do this. In fact, up to there. Hopefully I'm not blocking too much. I will literally go like this, and I'll delete it. Okay, can you see? And then I've got March, and then I'll put April in. Make sense? Simple as that. Okay, so February is currently my main month. As soon as I start getting into February, and then February's finished, once February's finished, I don't need it. I'll literally just delete it. And look, I don't need to redo March. It's there. That's March. Ready? And then I can put April in. Very straightforward. Okay, and I can just, you saw the process I went through to put April. Just copy and paste it down. Just make sure you leave a gap of 3. Okay. So hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, that was really helpful for you. Like I said, if you've got any issues, you can let us know, but give it a go. Okay. Honestly, with this stuff, it is a case of just trying it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. That's going to be the best way for you to learn. Watch the video over and over a few times. Obviously, when you come to do this, it's going to be completely different dates to me. So don't get thrown off by the fact I'm in February 2022. Okay, even if you're doing this in, I don't know, September 2025, it is exactly the same principle. Okay, you cannot go wrong. Just practice it a few times, and then after that, this is going to be your scheduled dashboard, like as in the schedule. Keep the other one hidden. You don't need it. Now you know straight away for the next 8 weeks exactly where everything is. Make a good habit of filling this stuff in if you want. I generally tend to keep it closed. These are the main things I'm going to be looking at, and in fact, as you'll see in part 2, this is the stuff I'm going to do analysis on. Okay, is this stuff in the primary section, especially for your business plan, because I only want you focusing on this stuff. The other stuff you can develop as you get better in time. Don't over, analysis paralysis. Don't overdo it with everything by trying to follow everything you can. Then you're back at square one. I wouldn't even worry about this stuff because it's your business plan, right? I think we did do a business plan. Like I said, forgive me. We just took a month off and just finished recording part 2, so I can't even remember a lot of part 1, exactly what we went through. I think there was a decent business plan, right, with the 6 months. And I actually had a thought when I was doing part 2 that it should be 12 months, okay? Try and do it 12 months. Just follow this stuff for 12 months and then introduce the other stuff in a year's time, all of this, and worry about it in a year. But get into good habits right now of just loading it in there, right? So it's always in there, basically. I think I made a mistake here, didn't I? There is no FOMC minutes. Just copy that. Get rid of that. There we go. It's not FOMC minutes. Okay, so that is the final thing. I want you to just keep that up as a very good habit. It's honestly going to make your life, you don't even need me to tell you, right? You know it's going to make your life so much easier. You don't need to worry about checking the calendar constantly about what's coming up. You know weeks in advance what's coming up. Said it a million times. The proof's in the pudding. I'll see you in the next section.